Welcome, everybody, to the South Jordan Chambers webinar. And we're right now with John from, well, I'm going to have him introduce himself in a minute. But we want to thank you for being on and watching the webinars that we put on. And so I'm going to have John tell us a little bit about who he is, and then we're going to find out what his business is about. So, John, go ahead.
Sounds great. Hey, thanks, boy. I appreciate you having me on. This is a great opportunity to talk to my friends and neighbors here in South Jordan, the surrounding areas. So I appreciate the invite. Hopefully we can give them some good information on what we're doing here.
Well, I'm sure we can. So go ahead. Tell us about your business.
So our business is kind of twofold. So back in 2010, I took a trip to Africa and realized there was a huge issue with clean water. Everybody kind of knows that, right? And I'm going to fast forward through a lot of the story, but sorry about that. But long story short, I came up with the concept for what we call the village drill, and it's a human powered drill that allows people in developing countries to drill their own water wells. And that was back in 2010. So here we are, 15, plus years, later. And we've just had a new iteration to this drill. We've drilled over, 15,000 wells worldwide in 42 countries. And we've really made an impact worldwide with this drill. And last year, I just had a strong indication that, there's going to be times here in America that we're also going to need this drill. And so we actually motorized it this past year, and we're using it out in the field in Africa and other locations. But it's really going to be a game changer when there's an emergency, when you need to get some water out of the ground. We're so exposed here with our water. If somebody goes and contaminates Utah Lake, I mean, it's toast. We had the FBI director come out about 2 months ago and says it's not a matter of if, but when our enemies attack our water sources. And so I think that this drill is going to have a responsibility to help out individuals that want to be prepared and fight against the crisis that may come.
Right. Well, tell us now. You said that you're doing a lot in a lot of different countries. 41 countries, you said.
42 countries, yeah.
42. That's a lot of countries that you're doing it in. But tell us about what it does and how it works and such.
Yeah. So the village drill is unique in that it was designed to be human powered, and so you literally spin a wheel. We call it the wheel of fortune. You just kind of spin it, and it rotates on its own revolutions. It goes about 34 RPM. As you got four people on this wheel spinning it, and you got one person who's on a winch that controls how fast it digs into the ground. And with that design, again, and we've had several iterations since 2010, when the engineers at BYU took my concept and engineered again what we call the village drill. And but what that does, it changes the lives of people that quite literally don't have water. I mean, can you imagine, here in South Jordan, if we had to walk to Draper, to get 5 gallons of water and put it on our heads and walk back home. And that's about the distance that they're walking, at least to the distance of the freeway or the Jordan River and back. I live up by Bingham High School, and you and your wives and your children were burdened with collecting that water every single day. And because without it, unlike food, without water, you have 4 days, and you're incapacitated, and most people die within 4 to 5 days of not having water. So it's that important. And so again, we've taken the experience of drilling over 15,000 wells worldwide, and so it's not new technology anymore. It's proven itself. But again, there's 2 ways that people can get involved with us. One is that we continue with our humanitarian efforts all over the world. Again, we're in 42 different countries, and the humanitarian efforts are go even beyond water. Once you have water, then we go and we teach them how to create crops and businesses behind that water. Some of the interesting things that I've learned during this is like making bricks. I had no idea to make a brick, you need clean water. You can't make a brick with dirty water or it doesn't have the strength. And so, even though it seems like you're mixing it with mud, right?
Right.
And chickens in these developing countries, chickens with dirty water, lack of water, will only produce 3-4 eggs a week. But you give them clean and plentiful water, and they'll produce 6-7 eggs per week, substantially increasing, their yields, whether it's with animals or, of course, obviously we know what it will do for vegetables. If we ever try to grow something here in South Jordan, without water, what would happen? Well, the same thing in most of these countries. The addition of water really changes lives. I always tell people, with water, you can create food, but with food, you can't create water. So water has to come first. It has to be top of the mind. And again, a lot of us have, food storage, and we have a little bit of water storage, but if something really drastically happened and we were not able to access the water, even at Utah Lake, what would we do? What would we do? Now, the crazy thing is that all through this valley, from Ogden down to Beaver, the water in the valley is only 30-40 meters deep in most cases. And so, we're hoping to educate people and let them know that there are ways that they can protect themselves and for an emergency, and and be able to supply that life-giving water that we all need.
That's cool. So how can our neighbors and businesses, how can they help you out? What would you like from them?
So it's really just getting to know us. The easiest thing to do is come to our website. It's called WhoLives, and the Who is an acronym for Water, Health, and Opportunity. So WhoLives.org. We're a registered nonprofit, and you can really get involved with what we're doing worldwide. We're doing some amazing things, even with we're very, very involved with women's rights, and there's these terrible traditions, I guess that they call them, that we're fighting against. One's called FGM and child marriages. Child marriages is, they literally cut these girls in their sexual organs and then sell them to a much older man, for a couple of goats and some alcohol or something. So we've made some incredible inroads actually in that practice. It's called FGM, the female genital mutilation. And so if you want to help us with that and get to know about the drill, then yeah, come and visit us. If you're interested in, or you know people who are concerned about, our enemies within, as the government says, and you truly are looking for a long-term solution to water, give us a call. And again, you can still reach us at the wholives.org. We have a website coming up. It's not 100% complete yet, but it's called the Rapid Water Drill, rapidwaterdrill.com. And you can visit there and get a little bit more information about really protecting our community. It's not for like an individual necessarily to say, okay, I got my water, now I'm good. But we want people to look at it. If South Jordan had 30 of these, if something were to happen, we could deploy 30 of these things, and they're transportable. You can throw them in the back of a four-wheel drive, a pickup truck, or and you can get it anywhere you want it to go. Matter of fact, you can carry it. None of the parts are too heavy to carry. So you can carry it where you need to drill that well. And in an emergency, we just had these horrible hurricanes out west. I was there last week visiting, so we know about Asheville, and those guys are cut off. And the crazy thing about flooding is flooding destroys wells. The two things that destroy wells are drought and flooding. So too much water and not enough water is what you battle against. But yeah, floods are the number one killer of water wells. So after a flood, to be able to come back in there and very, very economically for just a few $1,000 to be able to drill a new well is so important. And that well then can service, 60, 70 families, until things get righted. But again, when things go bad, if they really go bad, they're not going to be righted for, not for weeks or months, but in some cases they're saying, in some cases years, that they really, that they poison our surface water. But that's the nice thing about the water, is that our aquifers are typically protected. I mean, you can go in and destroy them, but for the most part, our aquifers are protected, and there's a lot of water underneath our ground. And using it for survival emergency situations is never going to deplete our waters, our aquifers. So it really is a great opportunity for people to look ahead and plan and say, hey, if the worst case were to happen, this is a very, very, very inexpensive insurance policy. A drill costs about $35,000, and you can start drilling with that, with that drill. It comes completely complete. And so if 10 neighbors were to get together, well, that's $3,500 a piece. And those 10 neighbors can go and get their water that they needed and cap it and keep it for an emergency. And then maybe, give it to another 10 people and another 10 people. But, so that's kind of the idea behind it. And we're hoping that people will take a look at it and say, hey, yeah, this just makes a lot of sense. It just makes a lot of sense.
Well, that makes sense here. And so we appreciate you being part of the South Jordan Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
And of course, part of South Jordan Chamber, or South Jordan City's, residents. So thank you for being here. And it's cool to have someone like you that's doing such great things around the world, and you're right here. And
yeah.
We thank you. So
yeah.
Any last comments that you have?
Well, I tell you, I just, we've been here now for pushing 20 years, and we just love it. And I just appreciate all that you do for our community as well. And we do, we just have great people here. And so it's a privilege to live in such a community. And again, obviously we never want to lose that, but we also need to be smart enough to where if something happens from the outside, that we're smart enough today to prepare for that for tomorrow. And on the other side, if you've done well and you want to help out internationally, I tell you, we can deliver water to a person for $5. It's mind-boggling. So you see these ladies that are walking with a bucket on their head. For $5, a $5 donation, we can give that person, an individual, water for the rest of their life. It has the most impact per dollar of anything that you can ever imagine. There's a lot of good, charities out there that do a lot of good work, but very few of them can say that they can give somebody water for the rest of their life for $5 for about the cost of a couple soda pops. And so, yeah, please feel free to look us up. We love being here in the Valley. Again, it's WhoLives.org, and we're very accessible. You can come and take a peek at the drill. I got one in my backyard. So come take a peek, and I'd love to chat with anybody that's interested.
Thank you, John. And so it's WhoLives.org that you can go to, and I'll put that in the notes as well. So
awesome.
Thank you, John.
Boy, what a pleasure. Appreciate you giving us reaching out. And again, thanks to all my neighbors out there that really made this thing a success worldwide. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening in today, and give WhoLives a look at, so that you can find out more about that yourself. And if you'd like to donate to this charity, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.